Hello, bitches.
Make the ground shake.
Hello, hello. Nope. That was especially the wrong button. Hi, everybody. How was everybody's weekend? A long time no see. Cannot believe you're streaming after such a long weekend. I mean, it's work, right? Ow, cupcake. There's people who went to work today. Therefore, I am here. Hi, Alex. Hello, hello. Sorry, I missed your hello earlier because I think I was not in the room. Oh, sorry about that. All right. I guess I'll do some TCG stuff today. Cool, eh? But we'll start with the other stuff first. This place smells funny. Have I been here before? Close your mouth, cupcake. Maybe it'll stop smelling funny. Hehe. Hehehe. You promise a Japanese stream? Yeah, that was on Thursday last week. However, stream didn't happen Thursday last week, did it? And then obviously I was at Rage. I was at a convention Friday to Sunday. Therefore, it did not happen. I'm pretty sure I wrote either Twitter and or on Discord that it was not going to happen though, so... reading skill issue hooded. Sorry. I'm sorry. Wow. Wow, it's good insult, hey. Whenever someone's like, what's that bad smell? Because they're trying to, like, be mean to you, just say to them, close your mouth. Maybe the smell will go away. It shuts them off very quickly. Because what's the comeback to that? We just called you a stank mouth. What you gonna do about it? You're not here for a week. And thus, lady bullies me. No, it's fine. The typos work. For a week. I'm not here for a week. And thus, lady bullies me. Couldn't be me. Could never be me, hey? Me bully? Nah. I'm actually a very nice person. For a week, yeah. Gotta say for a week. Gotta just drop some sounds there. Hi, Nabibbles. Hello, hello. How are you? Didn't get to see you this weekend. I heard you were working. At least I saw your doodles on the Saturday. And he said you was working. Sorry to hear that, friend. Me, bully? I could never. What's poppin'? Don't mind me just watching. Thank you, Alex. Okay, so we're actually not capped on resin, and I couldn't tell you why. I think I was I playing last night? I might have been playing. Little birdie said they saw you cosplay at Rage. Was it you, Frag? Were you the little birdie? You're sad you didn't get... Oh, Nibibbles, you didn't get to come even on the Sunday? Sorry, buddy. Ooh, Primo code. Arigato. Okay. No, no, no. Almost quit. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, Rusty. Yeah, Rusty's good bean. Paste. You little shit. Copy. Why you no paste? Okay. Asshole. There we go. What? What did I click on? What the fuck is going on here? Why are they... Oh my god. Okay, now I see what the issue is. Okay, I think we're fine. Hope you had a good time. Coffees look amazing. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I already used this one. Lol. Lol. That's fine. Also, we're getting free primos, so you guys better be logging in every day. Yeah, somehow. I have no idea how. It's okay. I get primos anyway. Yeah, the experience at Rage was not what I was expecting, I guess. You found a new pleasure in life. You like eating green beans uncooked? I'm gonna ban you for saying that, Cupcake. Either you leave now, or I will ban you. You have 2 minutes to decide. I'll start the timer now. You have 2 minutes to decide. Alternatively, don't mind me just watching. Oh, thank you, Toto. Also, hi, Puggy. Puggy, I still need to look at my calendar, but we will make a date. Uncooked green beans, you as well. You as well. Make a decision. Either you change your filthy ways, you get banned, or you leave yourself. You can choose. But why texture issue? Maybe. There's some things, I can't eat, like, raw tomato. It gives me the heebie-jeebs. The heebity-jeebities. I can't eat, like, I feel like proper nauseous. If I see raw tomato on something, I don't care if it's on other people's plates. Like, that's their own problem. That's their own drama. On my plate, no thank you. Absolutely not. Get out. Get out. And when it's on your food and the juices touch... Ugh, no thank you. I'd rather die. Uncooked green beans just taste like a generic vegetable. Oh no. Yeah, there's too many of you here. I can't ban you for that, apparently. Oh, you feel the same about raw tomatoes? It's disgusting, right? The smell, the taste. No toasted tomato and cheese? Nibibbles, is your toaster poo-poo? Does it not cook the tomato inside? Because that's fine. Like, cheese and tomato, as long as the tomato actually gets cooked. Your mom calls a raw tomato a live tomato. Oh no. I mean, it's like eating a nose, right? Because it's full of boogers, and then when you bite into it, all the boogers gush out. Yeah, that's why I can't eat them. It's any especially bread, because bread just soaks it up, Ghosty. So like, if it's on bread or like raw tomato on toast, all of the booger juice will just be soaked up. And it's disgusting. Leave the tomato away from the cheese? No, man. Tomato and cheese is good. It just needs to, like, cook properly. Fully melted cheese? And like soft tomatoes. You're the opposite, you don't like cooked tomatoes, too squishy. Well, look, if it's all the same texture, like rigidity, then it's fine. But it's the contrast of the firm skin on the outside, and then there's the like the firm like flesh, and then there's the boogers on the inside. I can't. You'll eat a tomato straight up. Oh. Puggy, I had a friend in school who used to do that. She used to come and she'd sit in front of me and eat this fucking gargantuan tomato. It was like half the size of her face. And I would just look at her like with burning rage. Like, go sit somewhere else and eat your freaking raw tomato. I could not. Hi, Spawn. Thank you for the head pats. And Loki's. Don't mind me just watching. Thank you, Spawn. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hello, it's been forever. It has. What, 4, 5... Oh, wait, I saw you yesterday. Mao, what the fuck? The sir over here almost bamboozled me. Pineapple and cold cheese? Like as a snack? Question mark? On bread? Listen, it's the sweet, but like slightly tartness of the pineapple and the saltiness of the cheese that could work really well. Oh, that was the joke? Sorry. I was very confused for a second. Yeah, Puggy, Puggy's very comfortable with doing nothing. She's very cozy. If she gets a good spot, she's happy. Don't disturb her. It's called a Hawaiian. Yeah? Isn't that just the pizza? Tomato sauces with popcorn. Nabil, I'll actually ban you for that. We'll actually ban you. Okay, let's focus for like a hot second. My Nahida hit level 10 friendship like yesterday or something, so that's cool. This almost like, I don't know, since Monday last week, so a week. I don't remember the last weekend if we had load shedding, but like this whole week, this whole past week, I've had to play during load shedding. Like when I wasn't streaming. Ow! And yeah, it was painful to say the least. Hi Yoda! Why you throw a bowling ball at my face? What I do? Raw onion? Oh, Puggy. Listen, I don't think we can be roomies anymore. I don't think I can sleep in the same room as a person who eats raw tomato and raw onion. Oh, man. You can't get pearls? Oh, you can't get to Inazuma? Yeah, that is a bit of a pain. Yeah, hello! Hi. How are you doing today? Still not sure if it's Kensen or Kenshin, but hello. Popcorn does not go with any... Have you guys seen those stupid videos? Oh, God, they're like rage bait on like TikTok and shit, where the people will get like those big metal like tubs and then like heat it over a fire and they like smoosh 3 watermelons. They throw in, oh, I don't know, like what's that that drink that's like, oh fuck man, it's like the mascot is a giant fucking jug of juice, yeah, and he like runs through walls. Kool-Aid, maybe? That thing. In any case, they poured like a whole bunch of Kool-Aid in there and potentially 20 other ingredients. And supposedly this popcorn tasted amazing. It just looked like a sloppy mess and like not the good kind, if there is a good kind of sloppy mess. But you get what I'm saying. It was fucking horrendous. I felt nauseous just looking at it. People be fucking weird. How's the load shedding? Oh man. So on over the weekend, Friday to Sunday, we had a convention here in South Africa called Rage. Stands for Really Awesome Gaming Expo. Even though they call it Rage Expo, so it's Expo. Rag Expo doesn't quite have the same ring to it, yeah? But anyway. So we had Rage this weekend. You throw are you sure, Yoda? Are you good, homie? Also, hi, Yaku. And we were supposed to have stage 4 on Saturday and then stage 2 on Sunday. In the middle, or at some point during the day on Saturday, they're like, oh yeah, we're moving to stage 5 until further notice. A lot of people have had very severe power outages. Roads have collapsed. We also have very severe flooding at the moment, Hooded. Not only like in my province, but also just... I've heard that the thunderstorms in Cape Town have been unbelievable because they don't really have the humidity for thunderstorms. This is at least what people were saying. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a thing apparently. I don't know weather well enough to comment, but yeah. That's what people were saying. I think it was like on the tweeters or something, or Reddits. I live on Reddit, my god. I realized I have a problem this weekend when someone caught me like at the convention browsing Reddit. I was just like, why am I on Reddit actually? Not a bad question. But yes, a lot of people have had very severe power outages, flooding, roads have been collapsing. Jargon always jokes and says that this country is the apocalypse. We're currently going through an apocalypse where no one else is. Yeah, pretty much, basically. You had no power for almost 5 days? Holy fuck. I know exactly how bad that is, Yoda, because it's happened to me before as well. So, yeah. My heart goes out to you, because holy fuck, that is a disaster. That's really terrible. Sid got you 33 stars. Oh, nice! I think I only got 31 and I called it quits. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm very done. My characters are very capable of doing much better, but me, I am not. I did enough, and that's all I give a fuck about. I did it once, and I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm not going again. I'm not trying to get better. I'm just trying to be happy, you know? Shouldn't we all? But anyway. So yes, the load shedding is very bad. I don't know if Sid told you any of this, because he lives in Cape Town, actually, as far as I'm aware. But I live in Johannesburg, and yeah, the situation here is very, very bad. I'm just like... I started thinking recently about like all the people who have babies, because especially like young babies, because you have to like... what is it called? Like sanitize things all the time. And like baby doesn't understand load shedding. Baby doesn't give a fuck, right? But baby's not getting fed, and that's what matters, right? So like, yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for people with families and young kids especially, because I haven't been able to cook food since like Monday last week. So it's been an entire week. I've had to eat takeaways every day for dinner. I feel so sick. Even though we've had like different things, we've had burgers, pizza, we had Chinese the one night. I think the only thing we haven't had yet is curry. We had fish and chips tonight. And yeah, it's just, you know, people are always like, yay, takeaways, and I'm like, takeaways. So that kind of sucks, but you know. Because we've had load shedding over dinner time for an entire week now. Skill issue? Wait, who's got a skill issue? Me? Couldn't be me. Oh, you mean because I got 31? Oh yeah, that's 100% skill issue. I'm not shy to admit that. I got skill issue. Like, my characters are built really well. It's just maybe I am too slow. I don't read things well enough, like to see like when the boss is gonna do something, you know, like, oops, oh, I fucked it. Oh, god damn it, why am I like this? A gas hob comes in handy. Yeah, well, I don't have one, do I? But it's definitely at the top of the list for when I moved to Cape Town. And I said this to Ray like months ago. I was like, my dude, it's gas or nothing. Like, I do not want to... That's the end of the sentence. I do not want to. Anyway. But yes, I think it will definitely help. I just do that for shits and giggles. My Farazan is not built. I'm not looking to build her. Ain't shit gonna be happening with her. This girlie's she's got random artifacts just on her, so she has some HP. Because I'll normally, forgot. I normally do dailies in Ray's World so I can get more XP on her. But that's fine. Last week was a shit show. For real. No idea what's going on. It's so terrible at the moment. You can finally try non-mobile Genshin. Oh, you excited, Yoda? I'm excited for you, to be honest. I don't know who I was shouting at, but I was shouting at someone about how excited I was that you have a computer now. I just remember shouting at someone, not even having a conversation with them, just shouting at them in excitement. But yes, last week was terrible. This week doesn't seem to be going any better. I have put up a stream schedule, but I've not written anything because I don't know. And honestly, I feel bad making a schedule when it could change at a moment's notice. I didn't even get to finish. So normally I'll make all my social posts on Sundays. I'll schedule for the week. But like, I couldn't even do that today because my power was supposed to go out at 2. Hello, motherfucker. Hi, Deanne. I was supposed to, yeah, the power was supposed to go out at 2. And so I finished everything just before 2 o'clock. I switched off my computer, went to go lay in bed because it's fucking cold at the moment. Like, it's literally, it's December, yeah? This is like between December and January, like the hottest months in, well, at least where I live, in Johannesburg during the summer. Listen, I'm pretty sure I've been wearing long pants and hoodies, sweaters, well more than I did even in winter. I don't know what's going on. This weather's all kinds of fuckery. So, yeah. It's very cold at the moment. And I can't remember where I was going with that rant, but in any case, shit's well fucked up. So I'm kind of just like surviving, I guess. I've had like no energy. I've been so exhausted for this whole week. Like Bubble said, I'm just tired. Same, Bubble. Sorry, I did see your message earlier. I'm so tired. It's exhausting, like, trying to plan my life around the load shedding. I've barely spoken to anyone. I know I went to Rage this weekend, but I've, like, barely spoken to anyone outside of that. And I'm literally just, like, in survival mode. Like, I sit on my phone and just, like, scroll through Reddit because I don't have the energy to talk to anyone or play any games or do anything. I do, like, the bare minimum in Genshin. I'm so tired. It's such a weird thing to get exhausted by, but like I'm honestly so drained having to constantly like feel like, okay, when is the power going off? What do I need to prepare? And I'm just I'm so tired, guys. It's not because I'm so busy doing anything, it's because I just can't do anything. I have to just yeah, anyway, sorry. Sorry for the negativity. I'm trying not to. It's been really difficult this last week. So I guess my mental health is not what it should be. You played PC Genshin for 4 minutes yesterday? Damn! Also, hi, Joggin. Sorry, the chat scrolled. Sid loves the challenge. He got 33 stars on my account. Isn't good enough to 36, but he's still trying. Oh man, that's mad shit though. Worried about you. Are you okay, Cupcake? Cupcake. PC has arrived. Oh yeah. Was not a good week. Yeah, man, fuck. Just, it sounds like for everyone, basically. It was a bad week. It is pretty terrible, Dan. I think it's more the stress and, like, the... yeah. I don't know what to tell you guys, because it's like, it's on the cusp of state of emergency, kind of. That's how bad it is. Like, we're literally, like, a sneeze, a sneeze and a fart at the same time. Perhaps even a shot if you're unlucky. Wear your brown pants, guys, because we don't know what's going to be happening. And, I mean, this has already been going on for 14 years and just getting worse, so, yeah. It's just it's a matter of hanging in there at the moment. That's it. Just hang in there. Anyway. No crying. You struggle planning around load shedding with washing dishes? Yes. Fuck. I mean, tonight's stream is very short because my power came back at like 6:15, and then I was getting ready for stream, and then I have to finish like just before 10 so I can go and get everything ready before load shedding hits, and I'm just like, I'm so tired. I'm tired already just thinking about everything that I need to do and like rush around. I haven't been able to wash my bedding, which I've been wanting to do for like the last week, but I can't because of all the load shedding, because it interrupts the cycle. And then there's rain. There's just constant rain. We don't have a tumble dryer, so even if we have electricity, we also have rain, and I'm just like, for fuck's sakes. Towels as well, and all of Sky's blankets, because we have to wash his blankets pretty regularly. But like, it's just, the rain is not helping, I guess. But yes, I was lucky. I got to meet Ghosty. Immediately recognized her and ran up to her. Well, I mean, she came to me, but like, in my brain, I was running up to Ghosty. Anyway. You go home. Oh, you go to work, come home, have 4 or 5 hours before bed, and then work again. 2 to 4 hours of that prime time is load shedding. Yes, we have from 10 until 12 tonight. No, is it tonight or is it? Wait, I need to double check because now I'm worried that yeah, it's 10 to 12, but there's another night where we have it from 8 until 12, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself then, because what else am I supposed to do? Christ alive. Anyway, Woosa. You saw me on Facebook today. Was it a video of me being a Karen? Because I went full Karen on someone's ass. You were up yesterday 5:30 because the power. You spent 2 hours at Cresta. Oh my god. Actually grim. The existential dread. Yes. Trying not to lose hope in life. You'd love to see that video. Listen, so it was at the end of Sunday. I had given my last fuck 2 days prior, and this guy walks up to me, well, not me specifically, but myself and my friends who had just finished the cosplay competition. They were tired, they were stressed, anxious as fuck, and we all just wanted to leave and go home. And so this guy walks up with his phone out, just taking a video of us. Not asking, not being like, hi, nothing. Literally just walks up to us, camera in our faces. So I'd already like stood in front of, in fact, I stood in front of Mao to block him. And I just whipped around and I glared at this guy and I was like, please stop that. You're being very rude. The fucking terror in this man's face and his child's face. I felt bad for the kid. But at the same time, if this kid's father is not teaching them like how to be polite to strangers in public, like I'm gonna teach that lesson. So, you know, it's just rude. Like, and I said this to people like the entire weekend. I was like, how would a random stranger on the street feel if I stuck my phone in their face and was like taking a video or taking a picture of them? Not asking, not greeting them, nothing. Like, what? Because I'm wearing a cosplay, I deserve it? Because I'm not a person, I'm not a human being? Oh, guys, I was mad. Like I said, I had given my last fuck on Friday even for the rudeness of people at Rage. It was infuriating, to say the least. I could not believe, and actually there was like official photographers, videographers at fucking Rage, people hired or like permitted by the fucking event that were being like this, and I'm just like, it wouldn't kill you to ask, you know. If I was just a random attendee and I had a camera shoved into my face, I would back the fuck up and make that most ugly face, which is what I did a lot of this weekend anyway. But if I was just minding my own business and suddenly there was a camera in my face, Lord help me. Lord stop me from slapping it away. Like, can you imagine? How rude. A random person on the street is maybe wearing something I really like, or they have cool hair. Do you know what I do? I go up to them and say, hey, you look really cool. Or your hair looks really nice. I wouldn't ask for a picture though, so that's kind of weird. But like, still, like, you know, they're a human being. Gosh. Anyway, breathe. Wootsa. Thank you for the toots. You feel bad now? Why do you feel bad? Do you just take pictures of people without asking first? Do we need to have a sit down with you, Hooded? And explain to you why it's very wrong to do that. Yeah, but I literally, listen guys. I lost my cool, man. I said please though. But I spoke in my like, because I don't have a kid, I don't have like a parent voice, but I do have I'm scolding my dog for doing something he shouldn't have done. Like, I don't know, shitting on the floor or eating fucking tissues. This dog. He actually stole an entire toilet roll out of the bathroom once and just ripped it apart. And I was like, bro! Anyway, so I used my shouting at my fluffy child voice. Because I'm not a parent, so I don't have parent voice. But you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, yeah? I hope. Oh, just hearing the story? I mean, for years it's been an issue though. It's the whole cosplay is not consent thing. And, you know, we've been saying this for years. But, people just don't care. But yeah, I don't know why Sky has this fascination. It's apparently like an anxiety thing, and I want to tear up this prey thing. So it's when we leave the house, he'll go and rip up tissues because he is anxious and or wants to destroy something. So Nat is not ignoring chat. Nat is trying to get through chat. Vivian, do you want to calm your actual tits, or do you want to get timed out? Because then I'll get to your message, and then by the time I get to your message, you can get your reply. Yeah. Not Vivian, not even saying anything. What am I ignoring, Vivian? Huh? You said lol, doggo. Cosplayers aren't things that people can use for themselves. Imagine that, Mao. How weird. Hi, Hassan. Where's Vivian's message? I don't see it. Time him out quickly so all his messages disappear. Vivian, did you go to Rage and you didn't say hi? Okay, daily's done. I might as well go grab the things. Hi, Maestro. How is everybody? And Galaxy, hi Galaxy. For all the... You didn't go to Rage?
Poop a scoop. Scoop a poop.
Poopity scoopity hoopity poop. Yeah? You gotta go. No worries, Ghosty. Have a lovely, lovely evening. I'm on fire for some reason. But yes, take care of yourself. I hope the load shedding is kind to you. I hope the load shedding is kinder to everyone. Because Lord knows it's not kind to me. It's a fucking disaster zone. I was trying to fill out my schedule today and it was just a fucking mess. You had an exam today when you got home. You threw yourself on your bed. Have you been sleeping, Hassan? I've been so busy. Since like Wednesday evening, actually. Since like Wednesday evening, I've been so like dead tired and busy. I haven't really been keeping up with people very well. Invulnerable to hydro damage? Oh no, what will I do? You need a break? Too many exams? When do they end, Hassan? And also, like, when does your school year start and end? Because in South Africa, November is when we do, like, our final exams. And then December, typically, we're on holiday. Because, you know, we do the whole Christmas thing here. There is no end? You don't get a... I know you got that 1 day off, but damn. Fuck. Okay. Sorry to hear that. And thank you for the hug. It's your dream to go to a con one day and meet all the cosplayers? Hooded, you said that you were in India, right? I know that there's one really cool cosplayer. I kind of fell out of touch with her, but I'm trying to remember what her name is now. She was very, very nice. And in fact, like, she had started her own business as well. And she was, like, making cosplays, like, doing commissions. Yeah, I think cosplay is very, very big there. Let's go do the bounty first. Where the fuck is it? Did I not pick it up? I thought I did. I'm losing my mind? Distinct possibility. The last day is the 26th. Then 3 weeks break and we start again. Oh, Hassan, you better rest up and not play any League of Legends during that time. You got a fresh cup of coffee? Just got off load shedding? Oh, nice! And you got Ito! Congrats! I thought I picked this up. I didn't click check map. Okay, cool. I'm so glad. I had too much coffee today. I had 2 cups, so that was a mistake. Alright, let's see. Oh, it's the mushrooms, right? Okay, cool. Bro, who asked? Actually, who asked? My god. I just do that for shits and gigs because, as I mentioned before, Farazan is not built at all. I just find it very amusing when she knocks things up. Tell them, Nana, tell them. And you guys? Oh my gosh. 2 is too much? No, for me, Cupcake. My, so I have to, like, manage my... It's gonna sound weird. I need to manage my anxiety. Because if I have too much caffeine, it gives me the heebity-jeebities, which is not fun. And I had some issues in the past week as well, so that's not helping either. So that's why I need to just be careful with how much I have, because it's a stimulant after all, right? Did you get to C6 him? I did! Galaxy, you wouldn't believe. This man didn't lose a single 50-50. I was not guaranteed going into his banner. He came home twice. I got 1 Farazan in the end. So that was a little bit sad, but yeah. He won a further 2... Thank you for the head pat, Stan. I won a further 2 50-50s on ya boy. The one and only. Sorry, the one and only. Because he was just like... Losing 50-50? Don't know her. Do not know her. What does it mean to lose 50-50? Ito's like, no. Oh, no. Ya boy was just like, yeah, I win 50-50s. Did not think this oak would run up to me to die, but cool. But yeah, I got 1 Farazan. I got a couple Yunfeis. How many did I get? Did I manage to C6 her? I don't remember now. What does she look like? My pinky. Oh, I did C6 her. Oh, blessed. Yeah, and then I think whoever else was on the banner was already C6. Is it Goro? It was Goro, Farazan, and Yunfei? I don't remember. Anyway. Caffeine bad for anxiety? Yeah. Not the league. 3 4-star characters in 3 pools, but no Ito so far. That's nice though. Yeah, getting cons as well. Nicotine used to spike my anxiety. Damn withdrawals. Oh shit, how do I go back in time and kick my 18-year-old self? Yeah, I mean, I don't smoke, but I grew up in a house full of chain smokers. So that did a number on my lungs, which were already shit to begin with. They, you know those, what are they called? When the baby's not fully baked, they put them in a thing, yeah? Just to give them like an extra bit of time in the oven. Because they're like sick or weak or whatever. Yeah, I had issues with breathing, I think, when I was born. So I wasn't fully baked. Incubator, thank you. You know what? I thought incubator and I was like, no, that's what we put Pokemon eggs in Pokemon Go. I was like, is that what we call it for human babies as well? Is it an incubator? Oh god, we're just Pokemon eggs after all. Maybe we're the Pokemon. Oh my god, we should be running around just saying our names. You've been going around every stream and spamming them with this emote. Yeah, no, you do like that one. 4 to 6 cups. Well, it also depends what kind of coffee you're drinking. Because I drink, what is it called? Like, is it called like drip coffee or like filter coffee? But then I also have AeroPress, which is really good. That's probably my favorite. Ah, I clicked on the wrong thing. I want to die. Black Arabian coffee. But how is it made, her son? My favorite one is actually, but it's kind of a pain. I haven't learned how to make it yet. Is made with a mocha pot. And we have one. I just haven't tried to use it yet because I'm a little bit scared of like the pressure. Because, yeah, I'm forgetful. So anything that needs to be watched closely makes me nervous. Because I don't watch things very closely. You were put into the first new incubators SA got in 98. Oh, damn. I was already old as fuck by the time we had those, apparently. Goddamn. I was like running around and shit. Being a whole person. Your aunt makes it? Ah! Oh no, not this character. Whoops. Imagine being a whole person. Alright, it's disgusting, man. Take me back. I want to go back to being... a regret. Anyway. You use cardamom. Oh, I can't handle... Oh, Jesus! I'm teleporting away. I can't handle cardamom. It's such a strong smell and taste, actually. But, yeah, I was born... Give 5... Oh! Hello. Do you want apples? I was like, who is this woman and why does she want my apples? I think it's one of the... one of the requests. Whee! Yeah. I was born undercooked. I don't think I was premature though. I think I was just undercooked. I needed a little extra time. But yeah, it's just shitty lungs. I don't know. I don't speak to my family, so I wouldn't be able to find out what exactly was wrong with me, but I just remember I've done. Okay, cool. That's cool. That's fine. I didn't want to do more. Yeah. Lungs not so good. That's all I remember. They mentioned it to me. Everyone just mentions shit to me in passing and never, like, explained anything. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I guess. This is my life now. So I have to be like really careful with things like bronchitis. I thought you would be undercooked because you're small. Listen, I don't think my family's particularly tall themselves. So I can't even say it's genes. Hi, is it Sentinels? Sentinels? Am I reading that rightly? Thank you for the follow and welcome to the posse. Also, hi Peanut, Awkward Wave. You know it. I didn't recognize Peanut at first because he wasn't green when I when I met him the second time. I was like, who is this individual that knows my name? It was just Peanut. Just the last time I saw him, he was very green. How are you doing, Peanuts? I know it sounded like I said peanuts, but actually my tongue just got stuck on the roof of my mouth. Anyway, this is fine. You had to yell? He didn't recognize you? I mean, you are very teeny tiny. Why everyone want to duel me? Guys, relax. Come on, man. Alrighty. Does everyone have plans for like the holidays and stuff? Do you celebrate Christmas? Chrysler? Oi! Oh wait, why did I come here? Lol. This chickadee wants fucking lotuses? Go get your own. God damn. Where is this person? You're not tiny? Well, listen, everyone keeps telling me I'm tiny, Yoda, and we're the same height, so... No! What have I done? Release me! I wanna die. Out to roast people? Couldn't be me. Ignoring relatives and being with your family? Fair enough. You didn't meet Mao? I was with Mao like the entire weekend, Yoda, except for the times that you came to see me. So that's pretty funny. Christmas isn't that big here, but I do have holidays. So you're gonna be bing chilling? Nice. What's the weather like there at the moment, Hooded? Sorry, I like asking about the weather. In fact, I love the weather. I love talking about it. Yeah, Yoda was at Rage. I'm pretty sure Yoda is exactly the same height as me, to be honest. I'm pretty sure we figured that out at some point. Tatarasuna! Yeah, it's when they were doing the competition. LOL. That's hilarious. Why did I get blocked? Have a good one, Maestro. You only picking up bits and pieces. Yeah, no worries, Mama. You were preemie? Granny told me when I was born. My skin was still see-through? Oh my goodness. How much that is true, I shall not know. Well, I describe myself as transparent now, so... It never goes below 15. You've never experienced snow. Yeah, we don't really get snow in South Africa. There's like 2 mountains. One is Table Mountain, and the other one's called Drakensberg, which basically means, what, Dragon Mountain or something? Dragon's Mountain. And it's like, I don't want to say rare occasion, but I think it is kind of rare occasion. Like, it's not a common thing to get snow here. So I've never seen snow. I've seen disgusting mushy sleet when I went to the UK to visit family, but that's about it. Oh, it's this kid again. God damn it. SA sounds really nice. I mean, it's quite distinct depending on where you go in the country. So I grew up in Port Elizabeth, which is a coastal city. Very small, very boring. The weather could be all of them. It's just every season in a day. It was also, I don't know if it's still the case, but when I was younger, it was called the Windy City because it's fucking windy there. I don't know why it's any more windy than any of the other the coastal cities, but like, if you go to the beach on a windy day, get ready to get sandblasted. Like, you'll take off several layers of skin. That shit's rough, man. So yeah, it's kind of, I like to call it the butthole of South Africa, because it's there, but it's not really something people will go to. It kind of just does its job, and we kind of just forget that it exists. You want to leave it, you don't want to go back. And then I've lived a little bit in KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban. It's okay. The income is really low, and finding a job is damn near impossible. But the weather's nice. It's very warm all the time because we have the Indian Ocean, so we've got very nice warm weather even in winter. Cape Town I lived in briefly, which I'm moving to next year. Very beautiful, but you know, every place has its problems. I just know that the air quality is better, the load shedding is not as bad. And it's beautiful, and there's beaches. Who doesn't love beaches, you know? Living costs. Apparently, the price of, like, just staples and stuff has actually gone up quite a lot. Apparently, the cost of living is going up quite quickly in South Africa, and, you know, the quality of life is not going up with it. So we're just paying more to live a shitty lifestyle, basically. But yes, the corruption, it's mostly the government. We have a lot of problems with, like, poverty as well. Homelessness, gender-based violence, racism out the wazoo. I'm just like, let people live, man. We literally have so many other problems. Worrying about where people are from, if they're, like, from another country, or if they're a different color. Like, we literally have more important things to worry about. Just let people live their lives. That's one of the things I'll never understand about the world. But anyway, you know, it happens. Yeah, and then, the food is really good, though. The food here is really, really good. Oh, I was gonna look at, which domains are up. I feel like doing any of them. I still need to get this new one. I don't need to farm anything from it, but... I've actually been farming... Things like, I'm so, like... Is disparage the right word? Because I just keep getting shitty things, and I'm just like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to do it. Did I have condensed resin, actually? I did! Okay, let's go make it a little bit more. I'm not about to. I have 56, or 156, but, like... I got time. I ain't worried. Beaches here kind of suck, the butthole of beaches. South Africa being the butthole of Africa, because it's, you know, right at the bottom. And then Port Elizabeth being the butthole of South Africa. Bless it, I grew up there, but yeah. Not a bad place to grow up as a kid, but apparently it got like super fucking dodgy when I moved. Like pedophiles being an issue in the area that I grew up in. I was like, holy shit. Also, is my sound loud enough? Like, can you guys hear any game sound? Because I realize now I turned it down. Oh, you're also from the south? Oh, is it also the butthole? Is it the butthole of India? No! Who did? You're the butthole of the friend group because you're full of shit. I mean, Mao, I can't lie to the people, yeah? You are full of shit. Every time you send me pictures of you working on things, there's a glass of Coca-Cola in the background. No water in sight. Sir. Hmm? Water's for the toilet. In Mao's household, if you want water, you have to fish it out the toilet. It's the only place that there's water in that house. Oh, she just said arrow. Thank you for the head pats. Am I getting head pats for bullying Mao? What's going on here? I got distracted. This is not what I was supposed to be doing. That sounds nasty. No, I'm just teasing. Hopefully his internet bummed out and he didn't hear me say that. I actually, no, I was gonna say I have had water at his house, but I think I actually had Coke. Oh, because the model's cute. It is. I love the face. I love the face when you do the head pats. Because it's exactly how I'd react if someone gave me a head pat without warning. You were away from the computer, but you could still... Were you getting Coke, Mao? Is that why you were away from the computer? Were you getting Coke? Show me your glass. Take a picture right now. Don't get up. Are you a Hi, Moose! Hi, Jinx! What are you guys up to? I think it's this one. Yeah. I'm gonna go be sad. You're not gonna show me your glass? Because I'm right? So, as if I don't know you. Anyway, I don't know if any level 8, world level 8 people want to join me for this. They're currently on their phones. Are they like in power saving mode because you haven't fed them yet, Mao? You should feel bad. You like your Coke? Leave me and my beverage alone. I'm sorry. You don't feed anyone? Oh! Poor babies. Farazan food sec. I don't know who to swap out though. Oh no, hold on. Let's make like... Tell him, boy! Also, Mao is a liar because he fed me when I went to his house. He made me dumplings and noodles. They're super tasty. I need to visit again so you can feed me dumplings again. Also, you haven't told me how much I need to pay you still. You had a minor celeb interact with your Insta. Life is good. Oh, shit! Oh, it's the dogs. I was like... Where are we and why are we here? What? Spicy! Goddamn! Damn! Can you guys relax?
You're the minor selectato. Funny joke.
Hi? Funny joke? I just needed to heal these babies because they're all like... I wasn't paying attention. I forgot that those wolves do so much damage. Wah! Clown domain? I am, unfortunately. Because I need literally one piece for my Ito. Whole team on life support, yeah. I wasn't paying attention, that's why. Also, it doesn't help this Boiki went in on, like, no health. Whoopsie. Cookie can have more heals. Yeah, condensed. Can I redeem TTS2? Of course, of course. What currency is that? So that's just premium screamium, which you get from stream elements. You should have, since you've been here. You done did been here, so you would have... If you type, I think it's exclamation points, you should be able to see. Hi, Killeen! Hello, hello. By the way, you're the minor celeb? Hey? I missed that part somehow. Sorry. I'm not a celeb. What are you talking about? Once I invite you here, you live here, and you can get your own fucking food and drink. Oh! No! You gotta feed me. I'm baby. I just won't eat then. I won't have anything at your house. Alright, sorry. I had to scroll up to see. I'm doing good. How are you? Am I reading your name correctly? Is it like Kuline? Oh!
Question mark.
Question mark? Brian cannot read? Also, Hooded, I know you're not serving me katakana again. Please, give me peace. I can't believe it just read question mark. Cupcake calling that minor. We get it, she's small. I can't believe you done this, Yoda. You editing photos? Enjoy, Mamau. Ow. Assholes. Huh? Did you write NATO? It's almost definitely that you wrote NATO. And the chat, I call them my Autobots. Because I can't read. Yeah, they don't allow people to call me NATO. Someone did that to me on Twitter the other day. And I was like, come on, man. It's right there. Like on Twitter, like you can see it. Ah! I'm howling on the inside, like as in crying. You typed it wrong by accident, that's okay. But just know, if your message gets blocked, it's because you try to call me NATO. It is forbidden. It ain't gonna happen here. Feeling spicy today, I can tell, Yoda. What did you have for dinner? Did you have curry? Oh wait, Cupcake also made that joke. Damn it. Are we bullying Tato? No. No, we're not. Tato has enough to deal with, okay? Do you wanna come live in my country and live with my load shedding? Then you can bully me. If you live in a country where your electricity stays on, you're not allowed to bully me. Very simply, that's how this works. Be faster. Ah! Play Genshin, you nerd. Huh? 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 You nerd? Imagine not playing Genshin. Wow, so embarrassing. Ooh, wow! So embarrassing. Imagine not playing Genshin, bro. Wow. I hope your parents don't know that. You can't bully. Yeah, you can't bully me. You would die if you had load shedding. Yeah, do you remember when you had 5 minutes of load shedding and you thought the world was ending, Hassan? You can't play games if you don't have power? Okay. Oh! Hello? Hello? But it's not Geo, so there's gonna be a copium? Copium? My brother heard that and said, I don't play Genshin. Wow! So embarrassing! Feel bad, man. You should feel bad, not me. I don't feel bad. Ito says hello. Wait, why does Ito say hello? Sorry. Ta-chang! Oh, the artifact? Yeah. That's why I was like, ooh! But I don't like the defense main stat. That's the only problem. Because he's Gobbo, right? So I want Geo on that. Oh, Nahida! You beautiful baby! Best goal. Don't die, you motherfucker! This fucking asshole. Okay, we're good. It died. We're good. My like Jargon said, my whole team is just on life support permanently. I also didn't know Xingqiu's swords actually heal. When they disappear, they heal. So that's cool. Chi-Chi is low-key good here. I haven't built her. I did level her to 70 recently. So that's cool. You didn't know he heals? No, because I only... What constellation heals? Because mine was... I feel like at the beginning of the year, he was C2 at most. I literally, every time he was in the shop, I had to buy duplicates of him because I just never... C0? Does it really? Because I think he gets more swords with one of his cons. And I didn't have that for the longest time. Slap the residual artifact from this domain on the Chi-Chi. Wait, the clam set? Oh, it's a passive? No ways. I just clearly never read him. But I also didn't use him for ages because I didn't have any cons and I was like, eh. It wasn't until Ayaka, I think. That's when I actually started building him because I wanted him for Freeze Team. So I actually didn't... I didn't use him for a long time. But that's interesting that it's his passive and I had no idea. Fair though. Like I said. I had literally... no time on him. Until Ayaka came out. Are you gonna move? What? Hey. Curry makes you fast? Curry makes you fast? What? Like going to the bathroom fast? Or you mean something else? Depends on how much curry you eat, I guess. How strong? Whoa! Hello? Don't know who that's for, but that's nice. You can have curry? Basilos? Basilos? What is... I don't know what that is. I had fish and chips for dinner. But I, to be fair, only had fish because I ate the fish and had no space for the chips, so... Bathroom fast and making a dumb joke, so don't overthink it. Like a better Nando's? Ah! Muchachos is a better Nando's. Their chicken is amazing. Although I love Nando's, to be fair. Both Nando's and Muchachos. One's not... Maybe one's not better than the other. They both have their merits. Let's say it like that. They're both good. Imagine if they joined forces. Gmax had no curry. He's living the high life. Thing is, like, I could eat curry every day and be happy, so... Yoda and I can swap. I've had takeaways for the last week. I'm over it. I'm done. Do we not have a Hu Tao emote? I'm pretty sure we do. It might be one of the bit ones. I don't know. I don't remember where I put everything. There's also a... Wait, didn't we have Bu Tao? I thought we had Bu Tao. We got it on the Discord at least, I think. Question mark. Guys, I cosplayed this character this weekend. In case you didn't know. I almost didn't as well. But then I just fucking did it anyway. You'll swap? Oh. I mean, hopefully I can actually cook this week. I'm so tired of takeaways, man. People are like, oh yeah, takeaways. I'm like, no. Please. I want vegetables. Do you have any socials I can follow? That I do. There's a Linky Dinks that's got all of them. Cosplay was much wow, very good. Thank you. Unless you're asking Yoda, in which case, yes. Yoda does. But Yoda, that just means that you have a refined palate and you know what tastes good, yeah? I think I was quite lucky because my mother actually used like herbs and spices. Gotta go do my Japanese lesson before the day ends. Oh my goodness, yes. 580-day streak, yeah, don't go break it. Go get your shit done. I just need to cook food. Oh? I clicked out of Genshin somehow. That's cool. Oh, 591! Okay, definitely don't break that then. Gosh. That's a lot. I need bowls as well. Where are they? Shrimp bowls. But I never have any fucking flour. Are you joking? I can make 20. Oh, is there another revive food I can use instead for now? That also uses flour. Whoa. Imagine using these. Ugh. I try to catch up with my flour, but ugh. Do you know if the Twitch integrated throwing system works for PNGs? There's a Twitch integrated throwing system? Huh? For what thing, Yoda? Oh, that one's not too bad. This is still one of my favorite meals in this game. Oh, that's not integrated though. That's, well, I don't know if I'd call it integrated. It's part of the app that I'm using. So it's like VTuber Plus. VTuber Plus, the name just has to match. It's not anything that's added onto Twitch itself. So it's part of the VTuber kit. You better be doing your studies, Hooded. I'll get back on it hopefully sometime this week. I don't know. Depends on if I have electricity, I guess. Okay, I think I'll just make the Conda cuisine. I hate that it puts the characters that just make suspicious dishes at the top. Like, why? Why would I want that? Asking for a friend. It's me. I'm the friend. Why the fuck would that be at the top? I got 9 extra. Jeez, Babs. Calm down, girly. Cool. Sus better than nothing? I mean, I guess. But they don't put the buffs at the top. They put the sus ones at the top. Why? What? You guys can't see it. Oh, wait. There we go. 69. I somehow got to cap last week. Because I know that these ones don't count. Alright, I was doing this. Also, has everyone been enjoying the TCG? I'm like, I don't know, indifferent. It's I don't know, I was kind of excited for it, but I have small brain, so like I have to actually use my brain when I play. Couldn't be me. I know you played a bunch of it. Is it good though? Are you playing it just because you're playing it, or are you playing it because you enjoy it? Have you played other TCGs before? Yo, do you love it? What kind of decks are you guys going with? Just out of curiosity. Not challenging enough or fun enough? I mean, all the stuff I've done so far, I've like been versing people with hilly trolls. So that's like kind of boring. I might just make 2 raisons. Bennett hyper carry, yeah? Okay. I want to see... Because obviously I've been playing just with the basic characters so far. I haven't gotten any new cards, but my favorite just comp to play in the game is still my freeze team. So I want to see how that translates into the cards. Because I've just been doing like melts at the moment. You don't even have to swap out. He just ends solo. No support, no reactions. Oh, really? That's crazy. Hi, Novus. Hello, hello. How are you? Ayaka freeze is good. Ah. Ayaya supremacy, you know. Why are you in the tree, sir? Actually making my life difficult. And I'm gonna have to come back for that one. I hate these guys. Yoi melt? Oh. I'll be honest, I've never played a... like, in the actual game. Never played melt. So never really thought about that. Hi, Momo! Thank you for the head pats. Glad to see you got some of them electrics. Yours were confiscated until 10. Oof. Yeah, I, didn't have electricity. I started when I had electricity, and now it's going off again at 10. So just streaming while I can. Yeah, that is the face. Are you doing your studies, Hooded? Hi, Chris. Hi, Momo. How are you guys? Chris, you weren't at Rage? Hey. You are doing it? Okay, good. Okay. How long is this gonna take? I do want to go do the card stuff. Chris pooped his pants again. Oh my goodness. You weren't angry enough to go to Rage? Fair. Do you even live in Johannesburg though? You didn't see me or Yoda? Chris did not poop his pants. Oh, that's good, Chris. Did you lock yourself out of your house instead? You're in Pretoria? Why did I think you were in Cape Town? My bad, homie. It'd be like that sometimes, you know. Head empty. Johannesburg is a short road trip away. Well, joke's on you, Novus, because actually Rage was in Midrand, so... No excuses. The friend that I traveled with lived an hour away. So he had to drive to me, pick me up, and then we went to Rage together. That sounds like a you problem. But no, Chris wasn't at Rage. I heard you didn't have a good time. I mean, I got to see some friends, a handful of people, and... yeah. I got to see some people. Anyone here not from South Africa? Jargon's not from South Africa. Who else is here? Puggy, well, Puggy's from South Africa, but Puggy's in Japan. Trying to think who else. Has anybody else pooped in? Just assholes and their cameras? Oh yeah, for sure. And it's not even just the assholes with cameras, it's people with their fucking phones in my face. Like, bro. Oh, his son is from Jordan, not Jamaica. Jamaica. You adopted Jargon, he's a Safa now, that's also true. Honorary South African. It is very true. I don't need these, right? God, I have so much. I had 5,000. I think the most I ever got to was 6,000, and I was like, ugh! But I'm chipping away at it. I just have no weapons level now. Don't expose my South African roots. Sorry, Peggy. Uh-oh! What is the prison? Fuck. Oh... Osara is plate? I don't remember. Your cosplays were amazing though. You saw them on the tweeters. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. I ended up not doing Nobara, who I was gonna do. But it's okay. Oh, Chris, what have you done? Nick Sensor, hello, hello. Hope you're both doing good. Both the reading and the meaning. Hell yeah! I got it. It's. Do you know why? Because the kanji reminds me of. Have you ever seen those like I don't know what they call them. You know, in those big kitchens that feed like a lot of people. Is it like a commercial kitchen? I don't know what it's called. In any case, and you load the dishwasher. It's those big scary ones where the lid goes up. Yeah. You put the plates in like that, right? And they stand up like that. Even in my dishwasher, they stand up like that. So the kanji there, my brain was like, ah yes, plates in the dishwasher. They're pictures after all, right? Gotta have a story, gotta have a picture in your mind. Oh, Sarah! Don't gamble. Yeah, Chris, at the moment Chris gets any kind of points, he gambles them. He's got a problem. That's why he doesn't play Genshin. Popping by to say hi. I'm doing good, Asa. I hope you're doing well as well. Thank you for the lurkies. The prison food. I mean, if that's your experience, Hooded, then sure. Let's say the prison food. Hi, Aura. How are you? That Asian. I still feel very weird saying your name, but anyway. Because what? I'm going to call you Asian? I'm going to cancel you though. But it's fine. You can call me, you can cancel me back because I'm just calling you Asian, which is very rude. But it's okay. You won at least twice so far. I mean, that is true, Chris. I know you've won at least once. I don't know about the second time, but at least once. And we were all stunned because I think that's like maybe you and Jargon have each won once. And that's it. Those are the only ones we've ever seen. But maybe everyone else is too scared. Everyone else is too scared to gamble because we just see all the losses and we're like, never mind. That's okay. Tired, managed to get out of there. 6 p.m? Oh my goodness. Wait, today? Was it like the final cleanup and stuff today? Goodness. Thank you for the confettis. Who is that? That was your doodles. Thank you. I'm doing good, Aura. Novus has got a yeet because of dinner. No worries, no worries. Enjoy. You love you just want to be called Asian. Ah. Asian was in my chat today. Time to cancel him. Oh yeah. Everyone being banger at Japanese and I'm just here being absolutely useless and not studying. Puggy, you should actually join us. You should join us, Puggy, because Hooded is like, what were you, like level 3 or something? I can't remember now. I can't remember what number it was. I'm pretty sure you said you were studying for... And yeah, I thought so. Here, there's a word that is made up of a kanji for food, a kanji for path road. What do you think the word means? My brother and I argue about this all the time. Listen, if it's not street food, I'm not interested. And he's sitting behind you. Uh-oh. We could only... Oh. We could only start packing up once all the visitors were off the floor. Ah, yeah, for sure. Gambling house. Yeah, my gambling house is rigged. Which Asian are you? You can't just ask people which Asian they are. Oh my god. Hooded. You feel bad for missing... No, it's fine. I keep telling people we need to have some kind of meetup because please. There's so many people I don't get to spend enough time with. Esophagus, oh my god, because it's a road. Oh my god, the food travels. Oh my, I love that. Can you show me what it looks like? Bum, bum, ba-da, ba, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. Asa was in the artist alley, actually. It was actually really easy to... Well, she found me, to be fair. Why can't I ask which Asian someone... Their name is literally that... And I was being silly. It's the whole joke from... What is it? Mean Girls or something? Ah! Chris, thank you! Thank you for the gift, subby. To that Asian. It's the joke... I think it's from Mean Girls or something. Where, like... The one girl asks the other... Like, the main character why she's white. And they're like, you can't just ask someone why they're white. So funny. Oh, that's some scary looking kanjis right there. How do you say it, Hooded? You know me, I'm not very good at my kanji yet. I'm still learning. Kanji is difficult, man. Hooded is trying to bully me into studying the kanjis, and I'm just like, I'm baby. You're trying to get it to type in hiragana. Oh shit! Oh shit! Shokudo? Right. People thought you were Nabil or guys. Really? What is this? It looks like coconut. It's not, but it looks like coconut. That gave me a fright. Is it bad to ask people what Asian they are? No, Hassan, it was just a joke. That said, I'm not Asian, so I can't comment on that. But hooded is, so you can ask him what flavor of Asian he is. Bam 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 bam. You missed many people. I don't know if I ever posted a picture of me and Yoda. I need materials. Damn it. Maybe that's something I need to go do. What type of Caucasian are you? The lightest kind. The one that shouldn't be allowed into the sunlight because I'll blind people. Ah, this is rigged. Hooded. You got a loco. No worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Asa. It was so nice to meet you this weekend. Like all this new stuff I can't make because I haven't hit any of the trees in Sumeru. This is violence against trees. Maybe that's something I can go do. Also, I was trying to watch anime yesterday and I accidentally started watching a Korean anime. And I was confused at first because I was like, this is not Japanese. And then the like theme music starts and there's just like Korean slapped across the screen. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because the character hadn't spoken in the beginning. He was just like mumbling and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? You've won 4? You can convert. Is it like a 1-to-1? The expiry date for the other one should be 7 because I checked yesterday. No, Tubby, I love you, but I clicked that by mistake. Sorry. Okay, it's 6 days now. Oh, 7 yesterday. Gamble them to prove it's luck and not corruption. Chris got you there. That's so funny. Also, to explain what that thing was earlier, it was like a vase, like a jar. Just a little round boy. Okay. We will do boss kills on Wednesday, provided I have electricity. So if you're here and you want to big slapper the bosses, be here. Yeah. Let me see. Wait, you don't convert it here, right? Oh, you do. But I don't have a lot of wood. I haven't like gone and slapped trees. Okay, I have a fair amount of bamboo. I like don't have, this is the new stuff, I don't have these. But like, I don't have wood. You don't use wood? Huh? Oh, but I don't have a lot of ores either, because I use them for the weekly crafting thing. I don't have a lot of ores either. I only want to do it because is it 1-to-1? I only want to do it so I can build stuff. GG's, Hassan. When is your next exam? I want a different word. This one. I don't have this one. Yeah, I'll just make some of these ones, I think. I have 2. 0. You want to play Genshin again, Hassan? You're just gonna delete it again and break my heart. You played... Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna ban League and all the terms from the chat. No talking about that cursed game. Did I do this one already? No, I didn't. Yeah, I just want to build just for the... Yeah, here's the vase. It is just a coconut, but it's not. It's a pottery. I don't think I've known a time when his son wasn't writing exams. Yeah. I mean, he was a student before. Like, Bebe in a school. There's still Inazuma things that I haven't made. Not that I use it at all. Is your name 2 first names? When I was younger, I was told to never marry a man whose surname could be a first name. And I don't know why, but if for some reason, you know, I can't remember someone's birthday. I can't remember a phone number that isn't my own, but I can remember to not marry a man whose last name could be a first name. So thanks for that, brain. I hate it here. Also, I don't think I ever really played the... Oh, I didn't play much League, to be fair. Just in general. But I don't think I played the other game modes. Planting Nahidas. I am planting Nahidas. Dodged that bullet. They're your first names? Okay, then you're good. Someone will marry you someday, Chris. If that's what you want. Also, look at this. She's so cute. She like waves. And look at her happy little face. The cuteness overload with Nahida. And then she looks down. And then she looks up. And then she looks down. And then she looks up. She's so cute. I can't. Fuck. Yeah, his son keeps saying he'll play Genshin and he never does. Oh yeah, I have to do this thing. Ugh. That's fine. We are gonna go have a squiz though. I think I have a daily to do. Not a daily, I have an event to do actually that I haven't done. Oh no, that's fucking long. Also, this is why you need kanji. It's so hard to separate the words. I don't know who says that. Watashi no? Does the O or the A have... I've already forgotten. Fuck. Nana? What is... Sitting on the swing? Watashi... Watashi no... Oh... Damn it. When she uses her burst. Wait. I'm having skill issue. Give me a second. Florida? I hate these ones that look the same, bro. They're both fives. It's Florida, man. Wait, but is Florida from Florida? Otherwise, I have some words. Your dad saw you playing League earlier. What is this children games that you play? Oh, you don't want him to see Genshin then. That's even more children games. Okay, hold on. Fluoride? Yes, her son. Like fluoride. But Florida. Wait, I can't read. Okay, is it watashi? Watashi no? O... Ora... Ora... Is that me? Oh... Oh no, that was chi. Chi. Oh, chi. I can't read that. That's a tiny tsu though. Rashai? Huh? Irashai? Yes, fluoride. We're talking about teeth now. What does she say? Can I see it in her stuff? Eh? Ochi ni. Huh? She like... It's very hard to hear her, what she's saying. Fuck. It's actually really hard to understand her. That one we went over already. God damn. What's cracking, Prince? Ooh, I'm not here for it. I'm not here for that. Did I... Oh, I had to do the ascension thing. I don't want to. Oh, it's... Oh, uchi. That's her house. Ni irashai. In what situation would someone use watakushi instead? What? Why? My brain is small. Used by kids to sound cute? Oh no. Mostly girls. Okay, that makes sense why Nana uses it then. Sino! Uh-oh. I have to go fight with Kole. God damn it. Small girls, baby, like itty bitty tibbies. Ah, I still don't have cards, so I'm just using the basic bitches. Not tibbies! I said chibis! Itty bitty! Itty bitty chibis. Chibi, because I don't like to use the word lolly. I'm like, no, that's a fucking weird word to use. Even though technically the small characters are called lollies in their file names. It's apparently lolly because the character size. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna call them chibis because it's less weird then. So I call them chibis or I call them cheebs. Cancelled again, yep. For refusing to call them lollies. They are cheebs now. And if anyone doesn't understand what I'm saying, then too bad. I think it's weird to call them that. Because other people use that word for different reasons, and I don't like it. I hate that they make you choose before you roll the dice. I'm like, what if I only get pyro ones? Because I had that happen once. And I was like, I want to die. Ah! Come on, man. Panda! Thank you for the head pats! How you doing, beautiful? Look at this bullshit. Oh, I'm gonna go cry now. I wanna die? Oh. I can't believe I've done this. How could I? Is the card thing new? Yeah, it just came out in the last update. I'm alright, Panda. I'm just tired. This weekend was long. People were tiring. You know how it'd be. Why is this guy cutting his hand? Sir, please. Busy. Yeah, busy. Did you get to see all the peepos, Panda? It was so nice to see you. Oh, that's kind of cute. Okay, what am I? I'm very tired, so like my brain is not I don't remember what the cards are and what they do. Man, these all poo-poo. Yeah, fuck it, why not? I might as well. Because I'm gonna end turn here. Fed up with these dice. Yesterday I got really lucky with the... Oh, not Gorba! Owie. Ah! Come on, man, give me peace. Watakushi is used by Ayaka, Dory, Official, Mona. No, Mona. I read Lisa and read it as Mona instead because my brain was like, ah yes, Mona Lisa. No. Nahida and Noel. Very interesting. Why? I don't want to play with Diluc! This is fine, actually. Because I don't have the NRGs to do this. I suppose I could throw a bunch of cards away. But is it worth it? I don't think so. How boys and girls are supposed to speak. And you don't have any male teachers to learn from. Ah! Wait, I thought I switchered. Yes? Ikoka! Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna. Chicken and macaroni. Chilling with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna. Chicken and macaroni. Chilling with the homies. Welcome, homies! Chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Sarah, hello. Thank you so much for the raid. Oh my goodness, that's a chunker of a raid. Welcome, peepos. My name is Nat Ortato. I'm a variety streamer from South Africa. I am playing the TCG part of Genshin at the moment. Oh, I see you were also playing Genshin. Sheesh! Did you have fun? What were you up to today? And thank you. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. Also, where are you peoples from? Because like I said, I'm from South Africa, so... Yeah. Oh, thank you. I am. We're just chatting about things. I don't even remember what we were chatting about before you guys came in here. We were talking about Japanese, actually. But yeah, welcome everybody. It's good to have you here. And if you guys enjoy cosplay as well, that's something that I do, so you guys can follow on my socials if you are interested in, you know, trying to farm some artifacts for Zhongli and failed. Oh no! And you did some of the current event Thing Bang. Oh, I like saying Thing Bang too. You're from the UK? Nice! I hope that the weather is being kind to you. I know it's getting a bit chilly. But yeah, I farmed some artifacts for Ito earlier and it didn't go well, but it's okay. I still need to start the event though. Whoops! It's cold, very, very cold. Warm blankies, right? And fluffy socks. You gotta keep the toe beans warm and toasty. You've been farming for Ito as well? Oh no. So it's double the pain? Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, I missed earlier as well. Sarah, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse, as well as Ash2347. Welcome to the posse, and thank you for the follow. You're from the US in the South. Oh, you got Wanderer. Congrats! I don't have Wanderer, but I did see 6 my Ito last week. So very, very happy about that. Double the pain, yeah. Big Saggies. Yeah, it's been a little bit painful. Trying to get like I need like one good piece for Ito. And I just can't get it, so yeah. And thank you. Is it Manamasi? Thank you for the follow and welcome to the posse. So even though I'm technically a tanuki, I am obsessed with opossums, which we don't have in South Africa. But I love them. They're good babies and very important for the environment, so I love them very much. Hi, Roxy! Thank you for the confettis and the head pats. If only she'd use him. Yeah, I haven't really been able to play much because we don't have we don't have much electricity at the moment. So I log on.
Like a cup of water?
Oh,
You look thirsty as fuck right now.
thank you. I'll take a sippy now. I log on. I do my dailies with my friendship squad, and then I close the game again. But I do use them in Abyss every time there's a reset. I use my Geo team. I love them. They are my crutch because they're very strong. They're very, very strong. I love Geo. My Geo squad fam. You love my VTuber? Thank you. It was actually made in, there's a free app called VTuber Kit. Let me actually go find, because there was a person on Twitter, Cupin. If anyone, even if you just want to play around with it, like, it's really fun. It's very cute. It's like very easy to use as well. And there's cute things you can do with it. So like, yeah, I'm a big fan of this one in particular. All right, what was I doing? Ow! Yaku! Geo the best? Yes! Zhongli, Ito, and Goro. You know what? Sarah, that's actually my Geo team. With the addition of Benny Borkin! Who did I have out? I don't remember now. It's okay. But yeah, so Cupin is the person who made VTuber Kit, and it's very fun to play with. Even if you're not a VTuber and you just want to make a cute character for yourself, just do it, man. All right, let's see. The entire world is on fire now at the moment, apparently. Oh, right, I was running with Diluc. Yeah, we can throw this away. You don't know who your fourth would be? I mean, to be fair, I think your fourth could be anyone, really. It's kind of like a flex spot. If you have those 3 geos, the additional person could be anyone. It could be someone to counter something, or it could be, I guess if you wanted like someone who's a little bit healy, it could be a buffer of some kind. So yeah. You going out now, Hassan? No worries. Take care. Enjoy. You have a new team? Oh, you're gonna build for Skara? What kind of team are you going with, Books for Days? I'm just gonna call you Books, if that's okay. Hooded, you got some food? Sorry. What food did you get? Manamasi. Okay. I hate reading people's names wrong, because mine gets read wrong all the time. Let's do a big ol' switcheroo. I wanted to zip zap the girly, but I will maybe keep this for now. I will go like bam. I can't believe I've gotten like no tasty snacks so far, but it's okay, I guess. So we're gonna do this, and then we'll switcheroos. When the turn ends, we'll switcheroos to Diluc, and then I'll do the card thing as well. Hopefully this works. Rice with sides? I mean, even if I could literally eat a bowl of rice and I'd be so happy. You would want to use Beidou? Ah! I don't know if that would work well. I'll be honest with you, I actually haven't played with the Bay before. Not for any particular reason. I think I got spoiled right in the beginning of the game. So I just got very... I got very used to and very comfortable with the group that I had. Okay. Let's go. What was it? This one? Ah! Wait, can... we can sacrifice a card. Yeah. So we'll go like so. That one, and then since we don't have a bow character, we can do like so, and then we can make like so, and then go pa pa pa! Hehe. Jamata! Goodbye! What kind of sides you got though? I need to know what the sides are. You better be eating vegetables. Skara, Yunjin, Bennett, and Layla. Ah, I don't have Layla. I'm so sad. Okay, what am I doing? Crying, maybe? Do I want to switcheroos? I don't like when characters die. But I also have still Kaya stuff, so maybe I'll switch to Yagoli, so it will do the thing. Thank you. Oh, it melted! Okay. I think we can end now. It's just become a meme. Oh yeah, I understand that. I get called NATO all the time. And I'm like, guys, my name is not NATO. It is very clearly Natato. But everyone reads it as NATO. And it gets auto-corrected to NATO. And I'm just like... in misery over here. Because I am NATO now. I am the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And I'm here to fight people, question mark. Why? This game hates me. Do I need to switch back? If I switch back, that'll trigger, right? Let's go. Oh! There we go. Global politics? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, yeah? Me? I'm all about them global politics, you know? But yes, a bowl of rice, bit of salt, or soy sauce, whatever floats your goat, and like, depending on your mood, a bit of butter. Ooh. Okay, maybe you don't need salt and butter at the same time, but you know, that's just good. Or, better yet, if you're not a lazy bum like me, you can make rice pudding. So I need to send still. Do not perceive that. Thank you. But yeah. Rice is tasty good. Even when I have noodles, I want the rice noodles. If it's got rice in the name. Man, I'm still confused about this interface. Not yet visits. Oh, visits. Oh, they're not available. Shit. I thought I'd be able to. I thought I'd be able to do them, but they're not here yet. Ah! Okay, that's fine. I don't want to actually fight against them anyway. It's okay. Do dead bodies float? Asking for a friend. I've never seen a dead body, so I don't know. Proficiency rewards available? Hello, what does that mean? What? How? Okay. What is this though? Oh, that's pretty. Is it the Huh. Very interesting. Okay. Cool. But I don't have any other cards. Oh, I have fish shit. I should just have a summoner comp. I'm always all about the summoner comps when I play games. So like Cookie Run. I fucking love Cookie Run. And one of my favorite comps is the summoner comp. Yaku! Thank you for the head pats. Yeah, I like summoner comps. Just, I'm not very good at swapping between the characters. I'm a little bit slow with that. So, how do I... Do I have to do the ascension thing to fight other people? Or can you just go up to people and fight them? Uh-oh. Is this gonna be hard? Oh, it's just hilly chills? Ah, looks a little spicy though. The big boy with a shield? That looks very spicy. Let's try anyway. It's super easy? Have you invited anyone? Oh! I haven't bought anything because I wasn't sure how to spend my coins. So I haven't bought anything. I was just like, let's wait and see. My VTuber is cute as fuck. Thank you! Thank you. It's making you consider getting one? Do it! I don't know if you saw, but I posted earlier. This one. Cupin. Even if... Oh. I keep accidentally pasting an extra copy of my VTuber. Because OBS is like, oh, you're pasting here? I'm like, no, I'm not. Oh, shit! Jargon, thank you. Yeah, so I have a 3D model as well, but this is the 2D model in VTuber Kit. Thank you for updating that. Okay, These guys are gonna be troublesome. But yeah, so it's even if you don't do the VTubing thing, if you don't need, just have fun and make it. It's like those avatar creation apps, yeah? It's just something fun. You can make yourself a little character. And like the movement, like, it's very good. Why? I have the worst luck. I never use these. But I can just maybe make some juice for the boy. Just so he can one-pop that bitch. Please and thank you. We're good. Okay. Pop him! Pop, pop, pop! Ain't no superconduct happening here. Maybe get a freeze, but we'll see how unlucky we are. Meow meow! He meow meowed at me. That was quite remarkable. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Kaya's moist. Did I have a... Tell him, baby girl. Ah, ah. I thought you were calling me. No, sorry, I was just saying meow meow. Oh, there was a sword here that I could have put on, Kaya. Can I can do that. Oh, it has to be the same one? No, you can eat a fuck. Anyway, let's go, baby. I don't get to pick who it swaps to, right? That's fine, I guess. If you never said those two words together again, that would be great. Sorry. Look, I don't know if that could have been better or worse, to be honest. He got moist. Look, I could have said something else that would have been much weirder, but... What the... That's what I get for swapping out an animo. It's okay. Ow! Actual... I'm not gonna say it. Wusa. Wusa. Uh-oh. There's a big old boy! Cool. I'm gonna go wishy-wishy, yeah? Because then it's gonna do stuff for me. That's how this works, right? Your internet's buffering? Oh, no! Sorry. Okay, so... this could be good to just have in preparation. Because the alternative is just swapping to Kaya Doodles. Alternatively giving Kaya a sword. Let's pop this out. Or do we switch it to Kaya? Oh, wait, but this is also good. What does that do? Is that a summon? It heals. And puts water on me? Get out of here. Sick. None of that. We still have freezy boys here. It's fun to play on mobile? Really? I think I did play a little bit yesterday on mobile because we didn't have electricity, so so I had to play it. I had to play it on my phone because I needed to do like 2 more battles or something. Ooh. Oh. I want this one. That would have been nice earlier, to be fair, but it's okay. Oh yeah? I'm gonna throw this one away and then it's gonna come back as 3. Close enough. Ah! That's unlucky. It's okay though. Ow. I was gonna switch to Kaya, but now I'm not so sure. And I don't know how many more turns I'll have, but I think this could be worth playing anyway. What was this again? Oh. Yes, thank you. The most annoying part is playing the actual game to get there. You mean like a separate... Yeah. Oh, does it have to be the same cards? Never mind. And then... no. Yeah, that should be fun. And then we'll... Cha-chang! Tee-hee. Hee-hee-hee. I think I'm gonna end my turn because I don't think I can do anything with that. Yeah. We're good. Like Hearthstone? Yeah. You love playing... Oh yeah, Roxy, how are you doing? Sorry. My brain went... as it does. I'm like just keeping an eye on the time because of load shedding. Zero! Whoa, how much health did my sucrose have if she's on 6 now? Girl, what happened? I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go cry. Be right back, guys. Just gonna go have a... Gonna go step outside. And cry for a bit. Ah! Darkness! It should be like Pokemon where you get to choose which energy you have in your deck, if that makes sense. If you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. I mean, both of these are good to use, but I just don't know, like... This guy is problematic. I guess I'm gonna have to do a switcheroos. Woo! Sucrose. Girlie's limping. It's okay though. Ikoka. Wah! Rude. I don't even have energy for an attack, so we're just gonna end the round, I guess. I wonder if it would have been more work to make a separate app, and that's why they didn't go with that. Oh yeah? What did the Ito card do again? Ah! Darkness. I'm gonna go cry. Be right back. What are these dice? Ugh. Having it sync up, yeah. Cause didn't it's probably late to use this now, but I think I can just blast him. There we go. Didn't need to overthink that, but it's okay. Wouldn't have made much sense without introducing it into the world first. I guess it's just like I know that didn't Gwent do that? Gwent has got like a separate program for the actual card game. Is it because it picked up in popularity? That's why they did it separate, or... Yeah, no worries, Roxy. I'm doing alright. After my Japanese exam 2 weeks ago, there was a book sale at the exam center. And it was manned by 4 cute Japanese girls. I hope you were polite. Hooded. You had no time and you had to rush back. Oh, rip. You didn't have a chance to practice. So, do you... I forgot what my sentence was. All I remember was I said, do you, and the rest is gone now. Okay, so now you said I have to go buy things. I didn't want to spend coins because I wasn't sure where to spend them yet. Play level? Oh, I leveled? Sweet! Cool. Okay, we're level 3 now. You get free invites from leveling. Oh, but you can also buy. Start a tavern card challenge. What is that? Whoa! Oceanid? I think not. I hate fighting this guy in the actual game. You want me to play cards against him as well? I think not. Not gonna happen. Thank you kindly. Ooh. Match invitation letter. Oh. Oh, I have 4,000 coins. What the fuck? Oh, these are the dynamic skins, yeah? Oh, yeah, I remember. Very pretty. Do you like HP Lovecraft? I played a game that was based on Lovecraft. I can't remember what it's called now. Oh, you bought some books, but they're too hard for you to read? The kanji? Man, that's why I'm so scared of kanji. Okay, so... I can just buy those, like... But there's probably other cards I need to buy as well. I want this one for no other reason that it's him. You can only read the title of one of the 5 books. Oh no! It was named after your cupcake friend. Oh, Dagon. Yes, the game was named after him. You had little time, you just picked 5 random books, bought them and ran. Oh no! Ah! I'm sorry. Okay, so how do you use those invitations? Is it like a thing in your bag? Do you... I think Ray told me about this. Oh! Hehe. Hehehe. Locked? That's fucking... Level 7? That's rude. Ayaya! My baby! So do I have to play against her? Bennett is broken da broken. Oh, broken da broken. I want to go... I'm doing a freeze team. I want my Ayaya. Within 6 rounds? Win with less than 2 characters defeated? Oh my god. Is it difficult? Do I go for... They all have the same requirements. You hope Ayaya gets a rerun soon? Oh, Sarah, she's like one of my favorites. That's why I want to build the freeze cards. Cause like, so I have 3 mains. Cause let's be serious, if you have 1 main, maybe it gets a little bit boring. But like, so my 3 mains is Ito, my boy. Look at that, beautiful. Much love for this boy. Ayaka, got a freeze team for her. She's not got constellations, but she's triple crowned. Ito's triple crowned. And Yae, this is my other main. I actually cosplayed her yesterday. Yeah, she's also triple crowned. So those are my 3 mains. So, in Abyss, I will use... This is my Geo team. You can't see because my fat head's in the way, but this is called Rock Band. Because it's Geo, right? And then I use Freeze Team. It kind of shuffles around all the time, but this is basically what it is. This team's called Ice Ice Baby. Because, you know, reasons. And then, this used to have Kokomi in it, so it was called Bloom Bloom Bakudan, because everything would explode from the blooms. But yes, this team has been changed since. you gotta have some fun. So I had a this is my Electro team. It's kind of messy at the moment because it keeps moving around. But this one's Electric Boogaloo. I've got Mixtape, because this is my Pyro team. It's very messy as well because I keep moving characters around. But this is Mixtape because it's fire. Rock Band, Ice Ice Baby. Who else had a name? Oh, this is Vape Nash. This is just my friendship. Oh, the rest of the teams don't have names. But you gotta make it a little bit fun, right? You also have 3 mains? Ganyu, Kazu... Ooh! How do you build your Kazuha? And Raiden? Looking delicious. That man? Which one? Which one, Panda? This one? Because, yes, but honestly... Jargon Comfort's still there. He hasn't changed. It's there. That hasn't changed. That's been sitting there. You can steal the names, guys. It's fine. I won't know. Unless I open your stream and see it. Daycare. It's Zhongli taking care of all the babies. His 3 kids. That's cute. And the caretaker should be Kiching. She should be there to take care of Zhongli's kids. Babies! There's babies! Alright, what was I doing? I was doing invitations. No, I'm scared to do this, guys. On stream, where you guys can see me fail. Oh yeah, this is the team that I want. I don't want to go against it. I'd rather die. Oh yeah? Oh, just be good. I'm gonna go for him first, because for some reason he's in all 3 teams. Why have I got 5 of these? Jesus. Cool, I'm glad that I bought more. Just don't fail. Oh my god. Why are his eyelashes, eyebrows, and hair all 3 different shades of blue? You're level 3 and you bought 2. I know you told me, but I didn't see that I got any when I did level ups. So I didn't see that before. He messed around with Auntie's makeup? Oh, definitely. Because she's got light hair. Definitely. That's okay. We'll start with Kaya. It really could be worse. But watch me get 3 now, because the game hates me. It's just like, oh, you wanted cryo? Oh, that's okay. We'll put this on the beep salon. The beep beep. Yeah, why not? Gotta leave a little lurk now. You're gonna go have dinner. Oh my god, yes, go. Go, 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 go. You was just streaming. Get out of here. Go enjoy some foodies. I hope it's super tasty. And thank you again so much for the raid. It was very nice to meet you as well. And I hope to catch you sometime soon. Take care, Sarah. Have a lovely din-dins. Okay. What was I doing? I think if we make like so, we can bop him once more.
Epic underscore bubble essay screamed you're doing great nat exclamation mark dot 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 dot.
Oh wait.
Dot 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 dot.
Why? Oh, when they use this. Oh man, I'm an idiot. It's okay. I think that was a lot of dot 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 dots. Bubble. Oh. Oh. I didn't think it would read out the dots. It does tend to fuck around. So yeah. Might as well play this. And then you can pop that one. Is he still buffing himself, this boy?
Question mark.
I did. I'm sorry. That's so funny. I'm so sorry. Twice now. Oh my god. Uh-oh. I think Brian's actually got something against you, Hooded. I'm sorry to say. Cause yeah. First he wouldn't read your Japanese earlier. He was just like question mark. And now you just put question marks and he was like tee hee. One question mark again. Maybe he just doesn't understand you. And he's not actually reading out your message. He's saying question mark because he just doesn't understand what you're saying. Just a thought. Just a thought. Whoops. Not me clicking off. I was thinking if I do this, I go like so, and then what? How dare you? I think I want to... Yeah, I can do it. I thought brain? Brian? I mean, I can put a Japanese one, but then the problem is that then it reads the English messages funny. So yeah. I don't know why my brain is like, if you take too long, the element will disappear. And I'm like, no, it couldn't. Shush, I know it's not my turn. I'm preparing myself mentally to press the button. God damn it. Give me peace. His name is Brain now. Listen, I feel like it wouldn't be the first time that someone's written his name wrong anyway. So don't worry, we can't read or spell here. It's especially not a requirement. I can't use this one. Fuck. Ow. Stinky. Stinky wolf boy. Bye bye. Mada heki da. Oh, that's for me. Give it to me. I can't play this one because I don't have the dice for it. Ugh, all of these elements on me is making me feel spicy. Okay, I feel a little bit less spicy now. Oh, I love this Yaya card! Ah, it's so beautiful! This is okay. No! L! Please. Please, ma'am. Give me peace. Okay. I don't actually need to use this. So what I'm thinking is, if I take this off, I swap Parunis and make another fire, because then I can equip that as well. And then I would still be able to do this attack. I think. I always do too much, though. It's... Wait, wait, I didn't... Oh my god, I'm gonna go cry. I didn't need to do that at all. I keep making things like overcomplicated for literally no fucking reason. I hate my brain sometimes. It's very frustrating to be a resident here. Ah! Maestro! Bow, 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 bow.
I'm back. Sorry if I upset you earlier. I didn't think it violated anything.
No worries, no worries. And yeah, thank you as well for the subby. Earlier chat was just kind of Newman, so I don't know if maybe I missed a message or something. But no worries. Oi, nothing.
I don't know Japanese, you dumb chatters. If you ask me to speak Japanese, I'm just gonna say question mark.
Oh, he didn't even say the actual question mark. How very dare he? What the fuck was that dice roll? I'm gonna obliterate Noelle right now. Never mind, she obliterated me. I'm gonna switch to him though, because she's already got fire on her. Oh! You must have been lucky, not for long, mate. It's obliteration time. Bam. It's not the way I wanted to obliterate her, but it happened anyway. Dumb Brian. Hey, I did it, guys. I got piece number 1. Yay. Cool. Okay. Try again? I think not. When do you get to do this? The card game? Oh, poor baby. So you just have to, like, start the event, like, thing for it? Like the story quest for it? And then, I don't know when exactly you can start inviting people, but, like, there's a board in here that you just go up to. And you can go do the things there. What's with the ZA? Oh, it's for South Africa. Zaid Africa. Because SA, people mix it up with Saudi Arabia and South America all the time, so ZA. But I think that's also, like, one of the two ways that we refer to South Africa. Either ZA, Zaid Africa, or RSA, which is Republic of South Africa. Depending on different situations, I guess. This looks fucking awful. Yeah, people mix up the SA with other things as well. Not that I sound like I'm South American or Saudi Arabian, so, you know, not that I have SA in my name either way, but yeah. I guess because I don't want to say there's not a lot of South African gamers, because there are, but it's a way for people to identify each other. Sharing a border with Texas? Exactly. We share a border with Texas. In case you didn't know. I don't know. You guys say these are easy, but I'm not smart. Not with card games, at least. Y'all watching me fumble tonight. You can't win with Genshin on keyboard? Yoda, just... I'm gonna be mean for a second. Suck it up. Suck it up, homie. You can do it. Just fucking do it, Yoda. I will be honest with you. I have all my character swaps and skill and burst on my mouse, so I can't help you with that part. What a shit hand. Let's see if I can get something better. Switchy. Oh, I should have swapped the bow. God damn it. Oh! Hello? SA is Turkish? Wait, how? Is it like a place in Turkey or? Oh, what the I'm gonna go cry. Be right back. Well, he's stacked when I can fucking use him. I'm just playing cards now because I'm salty. Wait, if I... Oh, only if one of your characters is defeated. Okay, no thank you. No thank you. Bam. It's a word? Oh. No idea. Sorry. Man, I hate that they have the dynamic cards. They're so pretty and I can't stop staring at them. Ow! The fuck? End. Why didn't it let me end my turn when I finished the last thing? I heard a lot of people say essay in anime that are Turkish. Ah, I see, I see. What is this card? Man, I never remember them. Oh, a switchy card. I used that one before. Ooh, hello, it's spicy. I'll take that. That's not a bad card to use. Ooh. Ow. If I... Yeah, I can swap Arunis, right? And then make big boom. Big boom? Nice! Uh-oh. I might as well do a big old switcheroos now. Because then it'll be free. And then I can... Hey, let me end round! Blech! Ah, the stinky boy healing himself. It's fine, he's still got pyro on him. Ah!
It is not your turn.
Why I get pyro now? What the fuck is this? Pyronation? Atsu atsu desho? If I play this, because I'm thinking I can play this. I can make a switchy, and then boop. What did you say? Why did that got like held for like racism or something? What did you say? Oh my god, that's amazing. Is it something like racism, ethnicity or some shit? And I was just like, what the fuck's going on here? Bro, in my chat. Question mark in katakana. See, you are being racist towards Brian. Hmm? Be nice. Brian has to read all your shit messages. All of your, literally all you make Brian read out is question mark. No wonder he's mad. I'd be mad too. Ow! Did he get vaporized himself? What? I'm so confused. What did he do? Destroy all summons? Holy shit, it'd take a 4 energy? Nope. 4? I don't know if Gorba is doing enough damage to justify 4 energy, to be honest. Uh-oh.
Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
No. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Because that's gonna bop her really hard. He might die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Who is Mark and why is he going through this interrogation? Brian's alias. Oh, mind blown. Ah, rest in peepos, man. Let's start with Kaya. Because maybe we get Glacial Waltz. Maybe if we get lucky. Have you thought of a countermeasure yet? Countermeasure this dick! Sorry. I'm not gonna finish this in 6 rounds, I don't think. I am too slow. Please? Oh. Ow! Your ears? What about them? I said chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni. Welcome, homies. Hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Chicken wing. What? Did it just end? Why did it sound like it ended? Anyway, welcome, Raiders. Hi, Nene. Hi, Papa Nay. It's 3 a.m. You couldn't stop playing the card game. Papa Nay, you gotta sleep. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? And welcome to all the peepos. I know Sussy King Kai is here. Stinky boy Kai. How you doing? Have you been playing the card game as well? Also, thank you, Nay. If you want to look... Yes, you must go sleep, please. Kid Thor, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse. If you just click on that link, quick, Papa Nay, if you want an avatar like this as well. It's free, and you can make your own, and it's a lot of fun. But yes, go get some sleeps, take care of yourself, and I'm sure you're gonna wake up tomorrow morning and play this again. So, I'm not gonna say anything, you know? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah, it's not my business what you do. But yes, get some sleep. And eat some good food tomorrow. Oh yeah, I forgot Kaya's my active character. Cool, I'm so glad. Pot of Kokomi. Oof. Do you make your own or buy cosplays? It depends. So I do both. It just depends on, like if I have time for things. Bunk. So... What did I wear to rage? Because I bought Yae and I bought Uraraka. What did I wear on the Friday? Why don't I remember what I cosplayed this weekend? It's kind of a blur. But yeah, it's kind of a mix. It's between the two. So like some things I maybe don't have the time to work on them. So I'll just buy them. But I do make a lot of my own cosplays. Oh shit, I did it. Oh, Gumi. Yeah. I made Gumi. Thank you. Uraraka, I bought because I was like, I'm not sewing a school blazer. No, the spelling's perfect. Oh, wait. I mean, the second one, close enough, you know. He went by the book? Uh-oh. That only works when you're baking a cake. Also, Kai, how are you doing? Ooh. Oh, another one of these. I'll take that, thank you. Yeah, so my Comic-Con cosplays, I bought Shinobu from Demon Slayer. I made the Haori Shoes box sword for Tanjiro. And then I used the under uniform part from Shinobu because I was like, I'm not making this again. I already own it. Why would I make it again? I made Cookie Shinobu. I made that cosplay. And I made Aqua from Kingdom Hearts 3. So most of the time I'll make stuff, but like if I can use it for something else or if it's just very detailed and I don't feel like making everything, then I'll just buy it instead. But it's very expensive, so I don't really buy things a lot. Sorry for Bully. Are you sorry, Momo? I'm doing okay. I need to finish up stream soonish, unfortunately, because my power's going out again. Yay! But yeah, besides the really intense power outages, not too bad, to be honest. Do I just fucking... This is the team I want. Don't buy, we will get you sponsored. You think so, Mau Mau? Do you think I could be sponsored? That would be amazing. First time invitation. Do you only need to invite them once? Wait, can you get duplicates? Oh, it's for... Oh, kind of... Oh, I see. But what is this for? Ah! What? Oh, that's... Okay, that's very cool. If you want that team, you have to. I know I do. I'm just scared of her. I'm scared. Is Momo sorry? Is Momo sorry? Or did Momo bully? That's my question. Oh, look at her. She's beautiful. My baby. My princess. She's as hard as anyone else, really? They don't get harder? Oh, she's beautiful! Not really? Okay. Maybe I'm just psyching myself out then, I guess. What does this one do? Ayo! That's a good one. We switched you one. Thank you, Spawn, for the head pats. And a bow. I want to go cry. Does Brian curse? I think he does, actually. Let's start... Let's start with Sucrose this time. Who the fuck is Brian? It's the text-to-speech. Like, all of the different voices have a different name. The one I use is called Brian. Sorry, Mao. Don't mind me coming in just to give you head pats. I appreciate the head pats. You know we got them load shedding things going on, so we appreciate the head pats. Paimon! I almost clicked on Kaya. Goodbye!
I am Brian SMH. Can't believe I have this shit job and people don't even know my name.
So good, man. You changed, you motherfucker. ちょっと待ってください. Did you waste an energy to switchy? Oh, maybe not so bad if you have that to switchy. What is this one again? Energy. Energy. Maybe I can summon. Please. Please, GB creepy. What is all of this, Pyro? Ah! She gets her cryo infusion when switching to... Ah! I see, I see. Very cool. Another Paimon? Oh, okay. Because I could play this one, right? And then make like so. And then just be a little shit for the rest of the time. Oh! What was that? It went too fast. Oh lord, she here to kick my ass. Whew. Why would you beat on Sucrose? Okay, I need to make her regret her life choices. I think I can do like so. And Suichi. And then... No! Curses. Hi, Saku. It's okay. Honestly, I thought she was gonna unleash her burst on me, so it's okay. Oh, I have no energies anyway, I might as well. Whoop. Not me, just playing with literally anything on my desk. I have... I still have the tub from the toxic waste, which I've now put my earphones in. I have an empty labello tube, and I have a tub of Zambuk that I'm playing with at the moment. You love the TCG so much? Really? Honestly, to me, it feels kind of like I'm playing it out of obligation, like I have to play it. I don't think I need to use that just yet, but this might... not yet. I can put this on Sucrose, though. Does it just have to be... Oh, it has to be the same ones? I see. That's fine. Just in cases, I can whip her out again for a slapper.
Exclamation mark.
Oh, yeah? Exclamation mark. It's a new obligation. It is a new obligation. Maybe it'll work this time. Oh. Boop. The stream started to buffer. He just said exclamation mark, yeah. I love Hearthstone. Yeah, I played... Trying to think, what did I play? I've played Hearthstone, I've played Pokemon, and I played a Yu-Gi-Oh game for a while. But I don't really enjoy card games, so I never really played much of it, to be honest.
Exclamation mark.
You're having a difficult time there, friend. Who am I playing with at the moment? Is it still Kaya? This guy just gave up. Can he read the Japanese ones? Like, at all? Goodbye. I should switch to D-Look at some point.
The Japanese ones.
I make Switchy and then I can play that other card maybe? Bunk. That card is very fucking cute. Ah, they're very cute. Oh, Jesus, what happened? I wasn't paying attention, but apparently they took damage. Cool. Yeah, that was going to be just a Halloween one, but it's kind of stuck. It's very cute. Oh. Be Dam-City. Ow. I don't even need to do all the damage. I just need to do a little bit of damage. Nah. Sorry, Ayaya. Ah! I thought it ended. Ba-da-ba-ba-bum. Ba-da-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-da-dum. Ba-da-da-da. Oh, I did it! Thanks, Ayaya. Just in time. So, did I get any other rewards for that? How much does it cost for the fancy cards? I didn't get any extra money. Oh, it costs 4,000? Okay, that's another time's problem. I probably need to buy other cards. Because, what have we got? We've got 1 Claymore and 2 sword users. So I probably need to buy another sword. I don't know how many I have. Ooh, I could buy a fancy one. Oh, it heals? Good gravies. Okay, that's pretty cool. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Welcome, homies. Hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. What do you mean, fear you? Oh my goodness. Zella, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome to the posse. Thank you so much for the raid. Shit, fam, you playing League of Legends? Now, I am going to fear you because you were playing League. Goodness. Oh, welcome, welcome, raiders. My name is Nat Ortado, variety streamer from South Africa. yeah, as you can see, I'm playing Genshin Impact. I hope you guys had a good time in Shaki's stream. I hope you killed all the things. That's how you play League, right? You just kill things. You voluntarily played League? I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you get better soon, Shaki. But thank you. Thank you for bringing your peepos on over. For those of you who don't know me, variety streamer, but I do play a lot of Genshin Impact. I don't always do the VTuber thing. I sometimes do face cam. I do cosplay. So if you want to follow any of my socials, there's the stinky link. Says the Genshin player. Yeah, I'm here by choice. And it doesn't impact my mental health. So I think I'm doing okay. Scent of Vanilla, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse. Yeah, I for the most part don't hate my life choices. I think I'm pretty happy. But yes, welcome peepers, and thank you again. If you need to head out, Sharky, you need to go stretch your legs, go eat something, go hydrate. Don't worry about it. Take care of yourself, of course. Vanilla, you also play Genshin. Who are your best babies? Who are your mains? Which characters do you enjoy playing the most? Yae? Oh, blessed. Yae mains. Rise up, because she is one of my mains too. Look at this beautiful lady. She's triple crowned because she's a queen. I also cosplayed her yesterday, so if you want to see some of that, it's on my Twitter. I think you can do exclamation Twitter just for Twitter. I can't remember if I still had it set up. No, I didn't, but there's my socials. If anybody does want to check it out. If Chi-Chi didn't come home, oh no, you got Chi-Chi'd on Hu Tao's banner. That's actually pretty funny considering Hu Tao wants to stick Chi-Chi in the ground. Sorry, my Twitter one's actually broken. Now I just use the campsite one because campsite's got everything. So there's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have TikTok as well, but it's kind of I'm struggling. It's difficult, man. But sorry to hear you got Chi-Chi'd, man. Get her to C6, then she's bomb. Campsite! Campsite! Hooded! Just because your ears are not working. Please, sir, give me peace. Please. You followed me? Everywhere. I saw. You're trying to get 5. Oh, how many do you have, Sharky? Let's plug a Sharky. Sayonara. Yeah. Oh yeah. 420? I always forget how to do the proper shot. You know they added that new shutout thing? I keep doing the exclamation thing instead and I'm like, damn it. Oh my gosh. Chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna. Chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Welcome, homies. Chicken and macaroni, chilling with the homies. Welcome, peoples. Man, I was like supposed to end stream soonish. And now I'm just getting raided a lot and I'm like, ah! How am I supposed to, I need to sit down. How am I supposed to end the stream when all the peepos be coming in here? Welcome everybody. My goodness. Hi Patches. Hi V. Hi Muppet. Neo Doot. Hello. Rachel. Hello. How is everybody? I hope you guys had a great time with V. You need C1 Hu Tao. Ooh, Staff of Homeless. I hope you get it. Vanilla. Hiritaru no Oni-chan. Oni-san? I can't read very well. Askis. Sorry. We raided Sky and now we have joined her raid. Oh shit! Let me do shouty outies as well. Cause I had the other shouty outie. Cause Shaki was very close to 500. He's trying to get to 500 before. Oh, I don't still have an active one. What the fuck? It's like you can only have one active one at a time. So maybe I need to continue that raid train. It says there's one active when there's clearly not, but okay, cool. You were trying to play some COD, but your PC said no. Ah, but you know, Genshin's important too. You gotta play Genshin. And now we're here with you. I actually need to go because load shedding soon.
Welcome Raiders, my name is Brian and I like to say question mark.
Okay, Hutao is very chatty tonight. Let me just, we can have an Osmanthus wine instead. Your power is also going out? Oh my goodness. Yeah, load shedding is imminent. So I need to make haste. I need to prepare myself. I have so many tabs open. Wow, them's tiggle biddies. What the fuck? You know when you get raided around Twitch? And when you land somewhere, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Alright, let's see. My Twitch is still showing that you're live. I think I want to take you guys somewhere to a person that I met recently. Very sweet bean. Oh, Sadis just went live though. God damn it. Load shedding. That's why you rated Sky. Oh no, everyone's got load shedding now. I'm off until like midnight, so I'm just like, fuck. Shit, man. Sorry guys. Sorry that you like raided and I just like, okay, bye guys. But I do need to run. Yeah. I think we had a very good evening, despite being short, like me. We had a good time. I will hopefully be back tomorrow. If anything changes, I'll post on Twitter. My Twitter now posts to my Discord as well, so if I don't make a post, go look at the socials tab on Discord, because the info will be there as well. But yeah, if you guys haven't already followed me on the socials or joined the Discord, there is the things. Yeah. I should be live tomorrow. I don't know what time. I, if possible, want to try and do a little bit of Japanese studies tomorrow. Don't hold me to that, please, Hooded, because I don't know what's going to happen. Aggressive Grey. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse. But yes, let us go. I don't know why your name makes me smile. I almost read it as aggressive gay. And I was like, no, wait. That definitely says Grey. Alright. So this is actually a very beautiful and very sweet VTuber that I discovered recently. I don't often raid, like, people that I don't know, because I'm scared of raiding someone who's mean. An aggressive gay? Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. That's you and your hungy? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Keep V fed, please, everyone. But yeah, so this VTuber, she's very sweet, very beautiful. She is currently playing Pokemon, which is also something that I'm playing at the moment. So I hope you guys enjoy Pokemon, because that's where we're going. And also, here is the raid message. Please be nice. The Asian is back. Yeah, the one singular Asian we have here is back. That Asian. But yes, everyone, please do take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and or evening, wherever you are in the world. Grab the raid message, please. The potato chips are invading. We're taking all of our love in our hearts and we're taking it to Blue. Like I said, very, very nice VTuber playing Pokemon. I hope you guys enjoy. Jamata! See you! Bye, 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 bye. Be good, everyone, and grab the raid message. I'm gonna say that again just in case y'all missed it. It's free. It's free to play. There's no special emotes in there. You can all join in on the emote spam. But yes, bye, 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 bye.